Hello, my friends. It has been a very long time since I have gone live. I don't even remember the last time that I went live. I think it's been, I don't even know. Let me share this with some people so people know that I am live. I don't even know the last time that I was live, if I'm being honest. It's been a very long time. Yeah, it's, I need to start going live like more often again. I like doing it. It's just a matter of like finding the time to do it and like not being exhausted. You guys, by like the end of the day, I know it has been so long. By the end of the day, I need to start oh, hey, Karen. I seriously need to go. Like, I actually love going live because it's like every time I get off a live, I'm like, oh, I love it. I had so much fun. I have the best people to talk to. I feel like so like, I don't know. It just always makes me feel better too. But you guys, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is the time of year. I don't know if it's the time change. There's a million and one excuses that I could use, but you guys, maybe it's my disease. I started a new medicine that you guys, if any of the spoonies want to stay on and talk after this interview that's starting at 5 o'clock and we want to talk spoonie stuff, we can definitely do that because life is heavy, Karen. That's right. I've started a new medicine and that whole story in and itself, only spoonies can fully understand and realize and recognize how shitty that is. I mean, like, it's just another issue that we have to deal with. So I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it is, but like literally I get done with work at 5 and I'm like tapped out. Like I feel like I can't even get out of my bed. You guys, have you guys seen this? That you guys probably saw this. Look at my pup. That's on that maternity pillow. I literally swear by it's on my store and I don't swear by those things, but look how it's on my bed. I sleep with that bad boy every single night. I swear to you, if you have chronic disease, it works. I'm not even kidding. I do go to bed. And you do go to bed, Mississippi girl. Really, I do. Like, I'm passed out, tapped out. Okay, so we are waiting for Dixie and Bob to come up. We still have 12 minutes. I wanted to jump on a little bit early. You guys, I'm really excited about this interview today. Hey, Megan. I'm really excited about this interview today. Hopefully, you guys, if you haven't had the chance, jump off the live real quick and go and at least watch a couple of my stories on Dr. John Forsyth. I know it's been so long, Megan. I'm doing the exclusive, the only interview that his family has done with a content creator. Dr. John Forsyth's story is absolutely crazy. You guys, like the fact that his mom like reached out to me and said, I've been seeing your stories. You've followed this story since the beginning. We want you to help us. Because we don't think that he killed himself. And I don't think that he did either, you guys. His family sent me his autopsy report and the 174-page police report. And believe me, you know I read both of those. Thanks for the love, you guys. You know I read both of those page to like, I like literally read those and I could not stop. And I'm telling you, if you read those, like, my chicken's up at 8 and 9. I know, that's what it is, Mississippi girl. Hi, girl, mom. It makes you question things even more. I will tell you that much. If you were to read, and I will tell you, I didn't know this, but apparently if you're on the Facebook page, the Dr. John Forsyth page on Facebook, apparently it is, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, tap that screen. Give me some love. That would be great. It's been forever since I've been on here. It's public, so you guys can go out there and get the police report. Apparently, it is public. So if you've been following this story and you guys are interested and you want to go search for that, apparently it is public on some Missouri police page. I don't know where it is. Maybe his mom or dad will know. But you guys, it is it's a lot. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys, know his story enough to ask his parents some questions. His parents are going to be on here at 5 o'clock. I thought I would get on a little bit early because there's just been a lot going on. You guys, I spent a lot of today watching in between doing work. This is Dr. John Forsyth's story, Ashley. I have an exclusive interview, the only interview actually that his family is doing with a content creator. He definitely did not, if you read it, kill himself. He was found. We are doing Dr. John Forsyth's, I'm interviewing his parents. It's the first and only, the exclusive interview. I'm excited I'm doing it too, Cindy. I don't know if what your thoughts are. I'd love to know what you guys think if you know his story. I would love to know what you guys think. He's from Cassville, Missouri, Ashley. Hi, Jen. I would love to know what you guys think, if you think that he did, in fact, unalive himself, or if he was, in fact. His name is Dr. Girl Mom, go watch my playlist. I have a whole playlist on him. Yes, I have a whole playlist on him. And so there's, I would say watch the older ones first. Yes, so let me do a quick recap on him. So last May, Dr. John Forsyth, who is an emergency room doctor in Cassville, Missouri, got out of his 12-hour, hi, Honeycomb, got out of his 12-hour shift. And he he had one of those, it sounds bizarre, but he had one of those really bougie, expensive RVs, and he kept that RV in the parking lot of the Cassville, Missouri hospital where he worked because he was always working. And so sometimes between his shifts or when he had a break or whatever, he would go into that RV and he would sleep or whatever. And so he got out of the work and he said goodbye to everyone. See you later, all the things. Hi, Marianne. I know it's been so long. I'll see you later, all the things. Now, Dr. John Forsyth did have 7 children from a previous marriage that he was in for a while, another child from a girlfriend that he had, and he was engaged, and his fiance was also pregnant. So there's a lot that kind of goes on there, and if you read some of the, even the police report makes it seem like he's this, big player or whatever, but here's what I say about that. Even if he was, that doesn't have any, that to me has nothing to do with, he had to pay $19,000 a month in child support, but he could afford that because not only was he an emergency room doctor, he was a Bitcoin, almost billionaire with a B. Him and his brother also owned a Bitcoin, hi Spud, a Bitcoin business. And so anyways, he said goodbye, I'll see you later, went to his RV to go to sleep or to go do whatever, and that was it. He didn't show up for his work at 7 o'clock that night. People were like, what's wrong? Where could he be? All the things. So there was a surveillance camera of him. There is a surveillance camera of him. I have moderators, right, guys? Cindy, I know you're here, so we're going to need some moderators here. So there are cameras of him. I don't need any drama in this freaking live. You guys know I am not about drama. Exactly. I just blocked, you guys. I just blocked. So, I think, Girl Mom, you are a moderator. Let me just make sure. I just added you as a moderator. So Girl Mom, I just added you as a moderator. So, you guys know there is no drama in my lives, none. So anyways, I just added you, Girl Mom. I just added you. So he was seeing that on surveillance, in an aquatic park in Cassville. And that was the last time that he was seen for 9 days. Until his body was found in Arkansas, in an Arkansas river 9 days later. And he was found with a single gunshot wound to the back of his head. And when he was found, it took forever. Thank you so much for the love, you guys. It took forever for police to say, okay, we don't know what this is. We don't know how we're ruling this. And when he was found, all this other stuff came out. The year before, he was actually kidnapped. And was held, he had his hands zip tied and all this other stuff. like random weird things. And the gun was never found, right? That he unalived himself with. The gun was never found. The family never saw his body. Okay. So they never identified his body. That to me is extremely weird. Like, he's in the grave, he's in the ground, they never identified his body. Okay. How did he get, so they also said that he stole his fiance's daughter's bike. It's this like pink and black, like, little bike, not like little kid bike, but it's not like a bike that you would ride, like, you know, cross country, and rode it 26 miles from Cassville to this Arkansas river. And so that's how he got there. He rode this bike, and he has asthma. So they're like, first of all, there's no way he could have ridden his bike that far, but apparently he's on surveillance camera riding this bike. So that's what the police say, at least. He's on surveillance. He got caught on surveillance riding this bike. Here's the other thing that it said in the police report, which I did not know, that very random. He had $10,000 in a Ziploc bag in his pocket. He was found in his lab coat, like his lab coat, with his $10,000 in his pocket that said, "For my love." That was redacted. I'm assuming it was for his love, his fiance. And then there was another $20 bill in his other pocket that said something along the lines of like, "It didn't work out for me," or something weird like that. Like, that's just bizarre. Like, there's just so many bizarre things to it that it just, like, it doesn't add up. Why did the police at first, for months, say that this was, hi, Kim, say that, that's the other thing. Did he ride his bike in the lab coat, or did he have it? There was a backpack there as well that was found. I don't know. We don't know. Like, it's just so bizarre. There's so many bizarre things to it. Like, there's just so many bizarre. He had just gotten engaged 3 days before. Why would you get engaged and then unalive yourself? He had plane tickets to go see his kids who lived like in Iowa. Why would you have plane tickets to go see your kids? Like, there were all these things that just didn't add up. Why? Like, there's so many questions. He was in his he was in his 40s. Yes, his parents are being interviewed at 5 o'clock here. It's the first and only interview they've done with a content creator, his mom, Dixie, and dad, Bob. And they are very adamant that he didn't unalive himself. Why did the police for months say that it was a homicide? We don't know who didn't have an alibi. We don't know. I think it was crypto related. So after I did it, oh, you guys, here's a couple other things. He was found with duct tape around his mouth. Why, if you're going to unalive yourself, would you have duct tape around your mouth? Like, that just seems very bizarre to me. Like, you're going to put duct tape around your mouth before you unalive yourself? Why? It just seems to me like if you're going to unalive yourself, Lisa, this is Dr. John Forsyth. This happened in May of 2020. This year. This happened in May of this year. And so it's just been like the fact that his family did not get to see him again. Like, it's so bizarre. There were also a bunch of like investigators who were part of his autopsy, which typically doesn't happen. And I have heard, now I don't know if this is true, but yeah, that's the other thing I heard, Honeycomb, and it was 26 miles. I don't know, Mississippi girl. Isn't that weird? Why didn't they get to see his body? I also have heard, so he was found by 2 kayakers in this Arkansas River. Now, I have gotten a lot of anonymous, obviously. It is. Well, he was identified because he had his jacket on and because of a tattoo that he had by the police. That's exactly what I'm saying, girl mom. That's how the police identified him. Because he had his jacket on and because of a tattoo that he had. Y'all, that's not right. That is not right. So anyways, okay. So now when I've been following this story, people know that I've been following it. Obviously his family knows. That's why they asked me to do this interview. Hopefully they're going to be jumping on pretty soon. It's not, the math is not mathing. I get a lot of tips, like anonymous tips. And I tell people, like, if you're going to send me a tip, and I'm never going to tell people who it is. Like, even if your name pops up, like, you will always be confidential or anonymous. I got an anonymous tip from a person who is, hi, Sam, we're talking about Dr. John Forsyth. His parents are supposed to be on here doing an exclusive interview with me any second. Who is from the Cassville area, who's very tied into the police department there, saying that he was found by 2 kayakers in this river. And the kayakers said that the police who the guy who sent me this anonymous tip, it very tied into the Cassville Police Department, said that the 2 kayakers are members of the police department. So if that is in fact the case, see, here's my thing, you guys. Here's my thing. I've covered several cases like this. For those of you who haven't been following me for a long time, for those of you who have been following me for a long time, you know that I'm super passionate about Sean Doherty's case. If you guys have not been following me, you need to go to my playlist and watch Sean Doherty's playlist, because that will make you so angry, that case. I'm telling you, after you're done, we're done with this live, go watch the Sean Doherty case, my playlist, because especially as a parent, you will be so angry. Sean Doherty is a 12-year-old boy from Virginia who absolutely did not unalive himself. Absolutely did not unalive himself. He was found with a bag over his head with his hands tied to the side, hanging from his outdoor playground, and yet police said that he unalived himself. No. As soon as I heard that, I was like, this child did not unalive himself. I actually started working with his family and got his family 2 retired homicide investigators to donate their time. Thank you, girl mom. To donate their time, okay? Yes, I do, Gamecock. To donate their time to reopen this case. That's what they're working on, to try to get Sean Doherty's case reopened, because he did not unalive himself. That was definitely a homicide. But here's the thing, and this is what I believe about this case with Dr. John Forsyth. If the police deem it a suicide or an unaliving, if they unalive themselves, they make themselves look like fools, right? They make themselves look like fools if they have to go back and say, oh, hey, there she is, Johnny's parents. Let me invite you. Oh, okay, so I can't do it. So, Dix, if you want to go to the bottom where it says guests at the bottom, see it at the bottom, the little pink and blue person, just go there and hit invite, and I will invite you up to be a guest. Oh, there we go. I just invited you. So you just have to accept. You just have to accept, and then I'll bring you up. This is what I think happened with John's case. They said that it was a homicide. They're never going to go back and say, oops, we made a mistake. Nope. Oops, we made it. That is the thing that happened with Sean Doherty's case as well. They're not going to do that. It's too big of a mistake for them to admit. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. So, did you get the invite? You should have gotten the invite, Dixie, by now. Let me just make sure. Yep, you're invited. So you just have to accept that invite, and it should bring you up. Fascinating Womanhood, you guys. That's John's mom's TikTok. So, and I think his dad is going to be on there as well. Hey, Southern Redhead. So that's what it should have popped right up on TikTok. It should say you've been invited. Like, it should have popped right up on your screen. Or you can see the 2 little blue and pink person right at the bottom of the screen, right at the bottom of your screen. There should be a thing, like a little circle there that says invite as well. You can hit that, and that should bring you up as well. Like at the very bottom of your screen. The multi-guest, yep. Yep, that should bring you up as well. It should say like a +1. It says Oh, it says multi-guest, not invite. But that's where she clicks, right, Jenna? She should click multi-guest, that little pink and blue person at the very bottom of the screen. Yeah. So there, do you see that? It should say, it says multi-guest, like right at the bottom of your screen. Like right here. And that you should be able to click that and it'll say something like invite and then you just accept it. It should be like right here. Oh, over here? This way? Over here, guys? See, I think it's backwards for the guest. Is it over here? Like over this, over here? Middle right, like right here? Okay, so it should be somewhere right around here. Click it, and then it says request. But I invited you, so you might not even have to request it. Looks like 2 people that are red and blue. Looks like 2 people that are red and blue. Like 2 little people. Like caricature people. Next to the rose, people are saying. See, I don't have the rose. So next to the rose, there should be... Hey, Topsam, we're talking about Dr. John Forsyth. His parents are about to get on live, and we're going to interview them. Oh, it's right beside the comment box. Right beside the comment box is where it is. I think I have to invite you again, maybe? Oh, I don't know if they're in here anymore. I don't see them. Yeah, I'm going to try inviting them, but then I don't see them in here anymore. And I could never remember her name. Does anyone remember her name? They might have popped out. Let me see. Because they were definitely in here. And I know this is her very first live. So, I just sent them another guest invite. So we'll see if that works. I already got a restriction. Are you kidding me? Okay. She definitely has enough followers. She has over 2,000 followers. Don't you only have to have 1,000 followers? She has over 2,000 followers. No, she has like 2,200 followers. That's definitely enough. I thought you only had to have 1,000. No, I invited them for sure. Yeah, I thought that was enough. I thought like 2,000 was enough. I thought you only needed 1,000. Should I call her? Because they were definitely in here. Oh, you can't figure this out? Okay, so I invited you again. So you should see a thing right at the bottom, right here, right around here. And it should say invite. And all you should have to do is accept it. That's all you need to do is accept it. Maybe I can invite one of you guys up and you can walk her through it. Would you guys want to do that? We can do like a little, you guys can, you know. There's nothing that says invite. Really? I've invited you like right to the right of the comments, it says. Do you see two little people? They look like a little list of people who are on. Okay, here we go. Okay, up and show you how to do it. So here, she's going to come up and show you how to do it.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. So, okay. See where it says comment at the bottom there, right? So where you can write your comment. So she's writing a comment.
Yep, she's writing comments.
Right,
yep.
Right to the right of the comment is a blue and red little figurine. You just hit that.
Do you see the blue and red figurine? Like right next to where you wrote the comment. Do you see the blue and red figurine?
And then she just has to hit that. And then it will say requests to join.
To the right of my comment box is the side of my screen. Are you on your phone?
Right in my comment box is the side of my screen. Yeah, hit that. It says multi-guest on my phone. Yeah, hit that.
That's not her. That's not her.
Oh, sorry.
Are you on your phone or are you on a computer? Because this does have to be on a phone. Because I wonder if that's the issue. Angel's saying it's on my phone, but that's not her. Yeah, Dixie, it's got to be on a phone, a cell phone. Yeah, it does have to be on a cell phone to go live, right? You can't go live from a computer. So that could be the issue. Now there is a thumbnail of someone else. Yep, that's Girl Mom. She's up here. Are you on your phone or are you on a computer? Dixie, are you on your phone or on a computer? I'm not sure how else we could like do this unless someone can jump up and show her like physically on a phone how to do this. Because I've never really had this problem.
Show her. Oh, like on another phone, you mean?
Yeah. Because I've invited her twice, so I don't think I can invite her. Yeah, I just sent you another invitation to be a guest. But you have to be on a cell phone. Change my boxes and then she can hit. I'm not on a cell phone. Yeah, you have to be on a cell phone. That's the problem. Can you get on a cell phone? Can you join TikTok from your cell phone? That's the problem. Should have asked that right away. No, you've got to be on a cell phone. That's the problem, you guys. Okay, jump on your cell phone, jump out on your computer, jump back on a cell phone, and then it'll be much easier for you. You'll be able to see it right away.
Okay, Cindy, I'm going to jump down then.
Okay, thanks, Girl Mom. So while she's jumping back off and jumping back on, I'll finish telling you guys a little bit more about John's story so you guys can know sort of all the background before. So then you guys can just start asking the questions. Obviously, I'll start asking questions, but...
Can you kick me out, Cindy? I don't know how to get out of here.
Yeah. Why is it not letting me kick you out? Oh, there we go. Okay. So before she gets back on, because she's got to be on her laptop or on her cell phone, I'll just tell you a little bit more about John. So, like I said, he had just gotten engaged to his fiance a few days before. He had to pay this $19,000 or whatever it was. There was not a second autopsy requested. It was like everything happened so fast that they were like, Didn't even get to see it. I mean, the whole thing is just so bizarre. So people are saying that they should ask to get him exhumed, you know? But that's expensive. I don't know. I mean, so he was, like I said, and so the police report made it seem like, oh, he's this like big player and he had all these financial problems. He really didn't. He could afford to pay the $19,000 a month that he was paying to his children, like for child support, because that's what I would think, Mississippi girl. That's what I would think. But again, for police to reopen a case, like I said, you guys also need to look at Sean Doherty's case when I'm done with this, because that case will blow your mind. The fact that it was ever deemed that he unalived himself. That case will drive you. You will be angry. We're talking about Dr. John Forsyth, Rhonda. So anyways, I think it takes a lot for the police to say, oh yeah, we screwed up. We're going to reopen a case and, we're going to deem it that it was actually a homicide. But here's the thing. They did it first. Well, Tiffany, that's the question. Dr. John Forsyth, Depp's mom. He was the doctor from Missouri who was missing for 9 days before they found his body in an Arkansas river with a gunshot wound to his head. The police at first said that it was homicide. Then they came back and said, no, he unalived himself. But there's so many weird circumstances that it's like, I don't know. I mean, so his parents are going to speak to, that's what I'm saying, Jenna. It takes a lot for police to come back and be like, oh, oops, we made a mistake. And especially, someone did say that, Candy. Someone did say that they saw him. I don't know. I mean, I did a bunch of, after this happened with John, I did a bunch, because another crypto person was killed, Candy. That's what you saw. I saw the same thing. Another crypto person was killed yesterday. I saw it on the news as well. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about the fact that someone saw him in a foreign country yesterday? That was just on the news yesterday? Because what I saw yesterday was another crypto millionaire was killed. I did a whole piece I actually had to do 2 parts because it was so long, on all of these crypto people I personally don't have that many subscribers. You do. You have over 2,000 subscribers. So you can get on yours from your TikTok. You have plenty. You definitely have plenty. You only need 1,000, right? You have over 2,000 subscribers on TikTok. So you have plenty to get on here on TikTok. Yeah, you only need like 1,000, I think. I don't even think you need that many. I think you only need 300. Yeah, you can get on. You definitely can get on. 100%. Yeah, you have plenty. Otherwise, it wouldn't even let me invite you. And it's letting me invite you. Yep, I just invited you again. Yeah, I don't even think it's 1,000. So I think it might have something to do with crypto. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of crypto, weird crypto things that happen. You know what I mean? Like that's based on, so I did 2 videos on crypto. Who's safe, Jenna? His mom? Really? That was on News Nation last night, Candy? Really? That's interesting. Huh. I think she is. My son is like, be quiet. I'm like, this is my house. What? Okay, sure, I'll be quiet for you. So, oh, that was a different guy. Yeah, that's what I think it might be. I don't know, but I saw a crypto guy yesterday too. Oh. His mom would know, that's for sure. Here's the thing. My daughter runs this account. I am trying to find what the thumbnail. Okay, so it's at the very bottom, and there's two people. Right next to where you comment, there should be, if you're on a phone, a cell phone, it should be right near where you're commenting. There should be two little people. It looks like a pink body shape and a blue body shape. And it's literally right to the side of where you comment. Do you see that? Between the comment and the rows. Yeah, you're right. It's just like a head and shoulders. That's all it is. Okay, what do you want, Chopper? What do you want? Lay down. No, Chopper, relax, buddy. Here. Just relax. Because you definitely have, if you're on a cell phone and you have over 2,000 people, you definitely should be able to get on it. For sure. What is the name of your... Well, you're already in it. There's nothing that you need to do. You're already in my live. So you're already in it. So there's nothing that you need to do. You're already in it. Yeah, maybe you can request. How does she do that, you guys? How does she request? Tell her how she requests, you guys. Does she just go down to the bottom? You're not on your cell phone? Okay, it won't work unless you're on your cell phone, Dixie. Yeah, that's the problem. You have to be on a cell phone or else you can't come on TikTok Live. That's the problem. If you're not on TikTok Live, it won't work, period. But you do have enough people. You do have enough followers. You definitely have enough followers. So if you can't get on a cell phone, then we might need to reschedule this because it won't work. It won't work like on a computer. Unfortunately, that's how TikTok works. Oh, iPads work as well, or an iPad, I guess. Yeah, unfortunately, like a laptop doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but it's got to be a phone or an iPad. But or you can go on, yeah, or we can reschedule if it's not going to work. But you definitely have enough followers for sure. Yeah, you guys. So, anyways, so those are all the things with John. Like, there's just a lot of random weird things that just, has his family questioning. And I understand that. I mean, none of it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And I would be questioning as well, he was a very successful doctor. Like, what? It just didn't make sense that he would just all of a sudden up and end his life. You know what I mean? Like, there just were no real signs pointing to that. There was no note left behind. Yeah, it's just like, why was his car at that aquatic center? Like, that's just kind of a weird place. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of questions. While we're waiting for her, you guys, did you see that the trial started today for Lake and Riley? Do you guys know who that is? The University of Georgia girl who was unalived by the Venezuelan illegal immigrant. The trial started today. I don't know if anybody has been paying any attention to that, but that was on in the background today while I was working. It was on Court TV. Well, I think it was on both of them, but it was on Court TV today. Has anybody been paying attention to that? Oh my God, the 911 call. Like, you can hear things. You can hear things in the background. Did you see the video, Southern Redhead, of him trying to break into the other girl's apartment that morning of? Oh my God. It was, they have a lot of evidence against him. That's why I can't either, Candy. I try to just pick and choose like the ones that I follow. This one hits close to me because it's UGA and I live in Atlanta. So he is the illegal immigrant from Venezuela who had gotten arrested in New York, but fled New York before a trial and came down here, was living in an apartment that overlooked this running trail that she ran on all the time, and went for a run in February, was supposed to graduate in May as a nurse, and at 9 o'clock in the morning, so it was daylight, she had her phone, she was doing everything right, and like, he killed her for literally no reason. It was a crime of opportunity. They said they don't have any proof that he SA'd her at all. However, today they said that he had pulled like her sports bra and everything up so her breasts were exposed and her running pants were down to her knees. So he definitely knew what he was doing when he left her there. He wanted her to be exposed. He also was out that morning. Like, he literally, I watched, it made me sick watching it today. He also was out that morning. He was literally like a hunter, hunting to do something to someone. He was out that morning hunting in all black, okay, with a black hoodie, a black hat, all black on. And he was trying to get into, the first thing he did was try to break into another UGA's student. Like, she had a ground floor apartment. He tried 6 times to break into her apartment. And then he was peeping into her window, and she finally called the police and said there's this crazy guy, like, dressed all in black. They have that all on surveillance video. So he clearly was like trying, he was out on a mission. He was out on a mission. And well, this is what kills me, Mississippi girl. For some reason, the death penalty is off the table. Why? I don't know. We're in Georgia. The death penalty is here. Hi, Willa. I don't know, but it's off the table. Total crime of opportunity. He had a complete plan. You're absolutely right. And so the other thing, like, I have the worst chills. Like, as a mom, this is my biggest fear in the world, you guys. They said that her Garmin, she had her Garmin on, and thank you so much for the love. And her Garmin could tell every single thing. So it's like she was running, and then he must have jumped out of the woods because she stopped suddenly. It wasn't like she slowed down to like, okay, I'm going to slow down to like take a break or whatever. It was like she was running, and then it was like, stop. So like just, and that was all on her Garmin. Oh my God. It's the biggest, I know. My daughter is a senior. She's starting next year. And they said that her Garmin, it was because of her Garmin that they know exactly what time her heart stopped. It stopped at 9:26, and that he approached her at 9:06. So for 20 minutes, that baby girl was tortured by that fucking monster. Pardon my French. Tortured by that fucking monster. Pardon my French. And they had like the rock that, that's what he did. He hit her over the head with a rock. So it was blunt force trauma and asphyxiation. But they say he didn't SA her, but he dragged her. Exactly, Candy. He dragged her 64 yards, 64 feet, very far, and then tried to cover her up with brushes. But like, here's what I don't understand either, y'all. I used to be a runner, and I still rely on my phone, like that SOS button where you hit it and it's supposed to go like to the emergency, like right away. Okay, she did that. She hit that, and they played that. And that's what we were just talking about. Like that, I don't know why he didn't SA her, or they may not have had, I know, Debbie, it's heartbreaking, right? They may not have had, okay, let me see if I can invite you now. Are you on your, okay, I just sent another invitation. If you're on your cell phone, you should be able to get it and accept it. Can you see that blue and yellow or pink person at the bottom? I just sent you another invite. Like right around. We can go back to talking about Lainey after this conversation, because I am so frustrated the death penalty is off the table for that one, you guys. I have to tell you, I don't understand. I don't understand. Can you see it yet? Dixie, can you see it? That's the other thing. There may not be any body fluid. That they said that she might have still been, and there is just no evidence of it. The way that her body was laying there, they thought that she was, obviously. But they don't have any evidence of it, so they couldn't, like... Are you on a phone? Are you on your phone now? Can someone take, like, let me see if I can take a screenshot of it. Okay, hang on. Oh, I can't because I'm not on... Can someone take a screenshot, you guys, and maybe send it to me, and I'll put it up, like, exactly where she should be seeing this? Does someone have my... Does anybody here have my Instagram or my cell phone number that they can send it to me? Yeah, his DNA was under... Oh, something just happened, but you guys completed the first stage of Team Quest. I don't even know what that means, but thank you. Does anyone have my cell phone number or Instagram where they can send me like a screenshot so I can bring that up and it'll show exactly where she should. So right beside where you write your comment, there is a blue and pink button. Yeah, because I've invited you now again. Okay, I just invited you again. Okay, thanks, Jenna. On the bottom right of your screen, Angel is saying. Between where you comment and the rows. Next to the happy face. Okay, you can see yourself. You're on your own live. That's why you're not in my live. Why is she in? Okay, here we go. Let me just show you. Okay, there is a way that I can bring up the green screen. Oh my God, it's been so long since I've done this, you guys. Okay, can you see that? Now, let me get my... Where? Okay. Oh, it's too big. It's too big. And you guys can't see it because of the comments. Hang on, let me turn the comments off. No. Can you guys see? No, you can't see it. Because, all right, here's what I think is happening. Here's what I think is happening. Go out, okay. Go, why is my background like that now? Okay. Go out completely. Because she can see herself. So can I bring her in as a host? How do I... No, that's not what I want to do. Okay, that's not what I want to do. No, no, no. Cancel, cancel, cancel. All right. I don't know what is going on. So I am 716 girl in ATL. 716 girl in ATL. See up there at the top, 716 girl in ATL. So if you get out and you go into that, you'll see on my little profile picture, you'll see it'll say live. So just hit that live. Go to my profile and hit live. And that'll bring you in here as my guest. And then I can bring you up as a guest. That should work. So go out completely, come back in on your phone as my guest. I don't know. If this doesn't work, we're going to have to reschedule and figure it out. Because we've been trying for like 40 minutes. Yeah, she's in. But it's weird she can see herself, though, you guys. What do you think that's all about? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. You see me. Now you see me. Okay. Okay, I just sent you again an invite. I just sent you an invite. Okay, I just sent you an invite. So do you see that little pink and blue person at the bottom? A spoonie is someone who has a chronic illness. Okay, we got you. Yay. Okay, we got you. Oh, we're echoing though. Yay.
I have to get out of here.
Something's going to have to be on mute or something. Can you put your camera on?
Your camera, is this off?
No, but that's the wrong camera.
Oh, that's the wrong camera.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
Where is the camera?
Are you on your phone?
Yes.
So that you guys know better than I am. Where's the camera for to be a guest? I think she has to hit her picture, right? On the camera, you hit the picture. And it should be like on the bottom of your picture. Oh, Celia, I'm so sorry. Yes, you would be, unfortunately. Yeah, she has over 2,000 followers, Rebecca. Touch your face picture. Touch your face picture.
Okay.
Do you see a camera pop up now?
Yes.
Hit that.
No, wait a minute. I do not. Hold on. Can you get the bread? Sorry, I have bread in the oven. I see my picture. It says, and when I click my picture, it just says send to me. This is so frustrating. I'm sorry. I just have never done this before on TikTok.
That's okay. That's okay. Maybe we just don't have her with the picture. Is that okay? Is that okay, you guys?
Wait. I don't even see a picture of a camera on here. Oh.
Do you see three little dots at the very bottom of your camera? Or of your phone?
No.
Like, right, do you see like business, subscribe, enhance, more?
There's people that are on there, and then there's a little microphone thing and a smiley face, and just a second. Nope.
Okay. Well, let's not worry about it then.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It says you have 0 followers on this account, so you must be using a new account or something. That might be why.
Maybe. Okay. You communicated with Cherry, our daughter. She's my executive assistant for my business. Okay. She's the one who set this up, and she and her husband went to Mexico this morning.
Oh,
so
good for them.
Help me. Yeah.
Good for them. Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Dixie, doing this for us.
And Bob is here. Bob is here too. So sorry about that.
And Bob. So Dixie, while you were trying to get on, I did encourage my followers, everybody who was on here, my followers, and everybody who was on here to go watch some of the videos that I've done about telling John's story. So I think the majority of them do kind of know John's story.
Yeah.
However, if you want to give a very, a high level overview, if you want to give your side of the story, what you believe happened, I think that would be really beneficial for everybody as well.
Okay, this whole thing is so corrupt. I just can't believe it. But in 2022, Johnny was, we're calling it an abduction. He met with some people. He went willingly to meet with some people, but it turned into an abduction when they put a gun to his head and zip tied him. So we're calling it an abduction. And he was, the whole time this was happening, not the entire time, but some of the time, he had his cell phone and he was texting his fiance, telling her to please stop texting him. His phone was lighting up and he was in a real precarious position. He was trying to negotiate with these people. And so you can tell by the text message thread that something serious was going on. We also know that about a few days before that, Johnny didn't own a gun. He didn't borrow a gun. He didn't like guns because he has children. His brother Richard did own guns. He doesn't have children. And about a week before the abduction, he borrowed one of Rich's guns, and he'd never borrowed one before. And Rich just said, okay. So he took it, and then he returned it about a week later, and Rich said he checked it, it was unused. But we know that he said in a text message during that thread thing with his fiance, he said, it's good I didn't take the gun out of the car. They would have killed me for sure. Now, the police have this. They totally ignored it. They said it wasn't, it was no evidence. And yet when he negotiated his way out of it, they zip tied him. When he came to her house, they were dating, but they weren't an exclusive yet. It was freezing. It was February. He had his shirt off. So it was really cold. And they'd taken a felt marker and written a warning all over his chest. And it was something to the effect of stop doing what you're doing. And he said he negotiated it for the time being. He didn't tell us because she said that he told her, if you tell anyone, I know where your family are, I will kill you. I will kill them. Okay, so the police decided not to believe this, even though the fiance was a witness to him coming there, zip-tied, without a shirt on, with all this writing on him. And Richard was a witness to the fact that he did borrow his gun and then returned it a few days later.
So, but nobody knew that had happened until after John's death, correct?
Until he disappeared.
Until he disappeared. Yep.
Then we were told, and we were horrified. And it was about crypto. He said some guys. So we assume it's about 3, because a couple would be 2 and 1 would be 1. So right. It was about 3 guys, and they told him, this isn't personal, we were hired to do this.
So was it, do you, or Richard, I mean, because I know Richard was, so for those of you who don't know, I knew I'm the fiance's sister. Oh. You're his fiance's sister? Oh, so you were a witness as well, is what you're saying. You knew as well because you were his fiance's sister, Sky Fly. Okay, that makes sense. So you also knew. Okay, got you. Mm-hmm. So does anyone have does Richard, I know because they were partners in the crypto business, have any idea what that was about? Were they trying to rob him, or did they want He didn't say, but it was crypto related, absolutely. Look, Johnny was a medical doctor, and this had nothing to do with his medical profession. This had to do with crypto. It had to, because it was the only part of his life that involved any kind of danger. He was a developer. Right. Right. And he said that they had been threatened, robbed, all kinds of stuff before then. It's good I didn't know all that before, because I'm already a worrier. And Johnny was just confident. He was confident he could handle things. And so the thing that the police have come up with is so ridiculous. This bike ride is so ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of speed talking because this subject is really distressing. No, understand. No, go ahead. And not only was he murdered, but the police have been awful. Yeah, I mean, so I told everybody a little bit about how, allegedly, he rode this bike 26 miles, to the river in Arkansas.
Actually, it was a lake. It's a big lake.
Okay, a lake. So talk to me about, though, how that, I mean, me and you had talked about this, like he has asthma. Like, was he wearing his lab coat as he was?
He was last seen by one of the nurses, a nurse who walked him partway to his RV. And when he left him, Johnny was tossing his keys in the air and said, "See you tonight." And he was wearing his lab coat. Then they claim he rode a bike, which he didn't ride bikes. He did when he was a kid, but he didn't ride bikes. He didn't like physical activity because he had a permanent back injury that the police didn't ask about and they didn't know about. He also had exercise-induced asthma, which they didn't ask about. And so he couldn't mow a small lawn, without using an inhaler. Plus, he had a kind of a sun allergy, very fair skin, and he would have had to wear sunscreen. Plus, he had Benadryl in his system, which he always took after a 12-hour shift, all-night shift, so he could sleep, because he had another 12-hour shift that night. He had Benadryl in his body, and they claim he rode a bicycle, which he didn't own, 28 miles over windy, hilly, no shoulders, narrow roads, dangerous, and no one saw him. There were no eyewitnesses that said they saw him. If that bicycle ride falls apart, which to me it doesn't even stand a chance of holding up, they can't place him at Beaver Lake by himself. It means he had to have it had to be homicide. There was another person, it's homicide.
For sure. And I don't know if you're seeing the comments here, but Jonab, and he's absolutely right. Like, why would it makes no sense that he would ride a bike 26 miles, like park his car at like this aquatic center and then ride a bike 26 miles when he had a car. And then
and he had number one, he had no motive. He had no motive. He didn't believe in suicide. He talked about it all the time. He had a sign that my brother carved from that used to make me mad. It said, "Depression is a sin." And I said, "Hey, don't put other people's sins on there. Put your own." and he didn't like it. He just got engaged. He had come to our house a few days before and said how excited he was that his divorce was finally final. And he said next year is our year for his cryptocurrency. And he had absolutely no motive. And the motive the detective told my daughter Cherry was he was just tired.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this business of paying money, when you make $80,000 a month, paying $19,000 to your ex is not a problem. He paid $15,000 to her for years before when they were first divorced and never complained. He told her to put whatever she felt was fair, and because he was busy, and for how much he paid. And when he found out she put that much, he didn't think that was right, and he planned to contest it, but of course he never got a chance to. But he never complained. He could afford the money,
right.
And he always said that he would always love his ex-wife, and he always would take care of her. He didn't want her or kids to ever go without, and so he said, "I will pay for her," and he gave her a credit card with a $5,000 limit on it,
right,
plus the $15,000. So saying it's about money is absolutely ludicrous.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think that is, again, he clearly did not struggle for money. I mean, in everything I read, he was a millionaire, almost a billionaire, allegedly. So Girl Mom had said, was he not seen on surveillance riding the bike? That's what the police said.
Okay, that's what they claim. But guess what? They never asked anybody, any of us who actually know him, to identify him. And they said he was wearing completely different clothes than he was wearing last seen at the hospital, and that he was seen in the lake. And so they claim he changed his clothes. Oddly enough, we did some research of our own, and there was a young woman who was missing right around the time that he was, and she was last seen on a bicycle with a black hoodie.
Oh.
And a survey. And you know what? The thing is, they did send a couple of stills of the surveillance to his oldest daughter, who sent one to my brother, who just I don't think he's ever got them. He was shown them. And he said, "You can't tell who it is. It's just from a distance."
Yeah, that's and Jonah Maged said, did the family ever get to watch the video from
No.
Rogers Tire, or did you get Freedom of Information Act
No,
request to get it?
they've been promising us since April, and they have never sent anything. And you'd think that they would have people who actually know him to identify, is that him? Plus, the bicycle that they said they found had no DNA, no fingerprints on it. They cannot forensically tie it to him, and it was found like 200 yards from his body, up on a hill. It is completely ludicrous because they claim he stole his fiance's little girl's bike out of the garage, and I didn't buy another one. Couldn't have fitted in his car. It was an Infinity. And where did he hide it for 2 months before he disappeared?
And why, again, would he ride a bike? Like, that just makes, when you have a car. Like,
anybody who knows Johnny, there is no way he would ride a bicycle, especially taking sleeping aids just before he does it.
And let's be real.
Physically, it was not a 10 speed.
Exactly. He's a big guy. Like, he's a big guy. Like, to fit on that little of a bike would be so hard.
Just the physical act of being able to do it when he wasn't that physically fit. He wasn't. He didn't do a lot. He worked real hard in the hospital and stuff, but he wasn't a physical fitness guy. So because he had this spinal injury, so for anyone who's even physically fit, who's a bicyclist, to do that would be a huge feat and very dangerous because it was such narrow, windy roads. No one reported seeing him. And the first surveillance that they claim picked him up was, guess what? All the way into Arkansas.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said because my dogs. What did you say?
Into Arkansas. No video footage of him anywhere near Cassville where the hospital was. It was in Arkansas. And they claim nothing picked him up until Arkansas. And there were many businesses that had surveillance that could have.
Yeah, I mean, none of it makes sense at all. And so Jonah McGann is saying that you legally only have 30 days to get you all of this information. And I think that is probably what needs to be started. And I agree, because the case is now closed. So they legally do. And then Sarah said, do they think he died the day he went missing or days before he was found?
Okay, that's another thing that is so sloppy about these guys. They don't, in the police report, they don't even conjecture a day, a time of death, let alone a day. No, nothing. The police report says nothing about his finances. Zero.
They also start the police report out calling him a female. Like, there's so many mistakes.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's so sloppy, but they're so arrogant. Also, they targeted his brother Rich right from the beginning. They yelled at him and told him, I know you did this. So they didn't think it was suicide.
No, that's what, I mean, I did a report on it that they flip-flopped, right? At first it was like, we don't know. Then they said homicide. Then they said, oh no, he unalived himself. And it was
well, they also said that in the police report that the weapon was a Glock without a casing, which they never found. They could not say what the gun was. No shell.
No gun.
No gun, and they couldn't find a gun. No gun, no suicide. His pants had dirt ground into, which meant he was kneeling. You can't get dirt ground into your pants by kneeling in a lake.
Right. So it was like, you believe that he was kneeling kind of with his hands over.
I don't know where his arms were, and you said earlier he had duct tape on his mouth. It was wrapped all the way around his neck. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just on his mouth.
Like, that's crazy to me. Like, the fact that there was, and then there was also, I was talking about the money that was found in his pocket. If you want to explain it.
Okay. They said there was $10,000 cash found, and with a note on it that said, for his fiance. But what kind of a guy would leave that in his pocket, not having any idea whether they would ever find his body or the money? And then it was a plant. It was a plant, and so was his backpack.
Oh, and wasn't there a $20 bill found as well? That said,
I had never heard that there was a $20 bill.
It said something weird on it. I didn't get to finish.
Well, okay, what was written in purple ink on his medical jacket, his lab coat, was S. Nakamoto, which is the accepted name of the founder of Bitcoin. And that was written on his body. Plus, he had, the autopsy said he had purple ink on both hands. I write with a pen every day. A lot of you do too. I never get ink on my hands, let alone both of them.
Right.
So I asked ChatGPT, how could that happen? And it suggested could happen in a struggle. So, I mean, other than that, I don't know, but there, we are just, I mean, not only are we absolutely devastated at what happened to him, but that the police could be so corrupt. And we also now know that the FBI have been on this from day one.
Yeah.
And we asked the detectives, are FBI involved? And they got mad and they said, no way. If they were involved, they'd be interviewing you instead of us, which isn't true. And so we know they're involved now because they did interview Richard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They waited till it was closed, and the guy that interviewed him, the agent, is not interviewing it as a suicide.
He's not interviewing it as.
He said he's a specialist in organized crime and gangs and cryptocurrency theft.
Okay, so let's talk about this because this is one of the biggest, craziest things of the whole case. I think the fact that you guys never identified his body.
No one who knew him, no one who ever knew him identified his body, and the way the autopsy was described, I think they had to identify him by his lab coat, which technically, forensically, could have been on any person.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't understand how they could do that. Like, oh, someone could have put that on him.
Sloppy. But and the thing about the tattoo, they couldn't have identified him on the spot because he was wearing clothes. It had to be in the medical lab. And by the way, the other really suspicious thing is, how did they get the medical lab clear down in Little Rock? That's like 3 hours away by car. How did they get 3 pathologists to sign that off as a suicide when it is so obviously a homicide?
And didn't you say something about how there were like police investigators in with which is never supposed to happen, in with the autopsy being done as well?
I don't know whether it's supposed to happen because that's not my field. They claim they watched it. I don't know.
It's not supposed to happen.
Whether that's a thing, but three, and also there are some really weird things that happened in our family did an investigation of their report. It's really extensive, and one of the things we found out is that the police, what's it called, the prosecutor, that's an elected position. After just a few months after this happened, he retired 2 years early, and somebody else was put in.
Huh?
This is an elected position. The head guy that did the main autopsy was really young, hadn't been out of school that long.
Yep.
He just a few months after this, he got promoted to the head of the state crime lab.
Yep. Oh wow.
There's all these weird promotions and weird retirements. The guy who took his place retired early. Mm-hmm. And we don't have answers for that. It's just really, it looks really fishy. And
no, the whole thing. I mean, yeah, the whole and Jonab's bringing up a lot of, listen, Jonah, as you can tell, is very much does not think that he unalived himself. He absolutely thinks that it's homicide. And one of the things that he wants to know is, did you get a chance to listen? He said, did you listen to the 911 call? They didn't want anyone at the scene and cleared it super fast. Did you?
No, I didn't. We didn't get to hear anything like that.
And he wants to know, like, if there's been talk of you, and several other people asked this too, if there's been talk about exhuming the body.
No, okay, my brother is a pathologist, and he happened to be visiting here right when this happened, and Johnny was named after him. His name is John, and he called the coroner. Coroner is different than the medical examiner. The coroner was there and helped get his body out of the lake. Mm-hmm. And he told John, my brother, that where the bullet wound was. Otherwise, the police wouldn't have told us. And so John, being a pathologist himself, he said, oh, it was an execution. Because he said in all his years of practice, and he knows a lot of pathologists, he has never seen anybody who committed suicide that way. A head pathologist of the University of Medical School up in Columbia, Missouri, John talked to him, and he said no one with medical training like he would have ever shot himself there, because he knows that the body, there's too great of a risk of you missing and just maybe causing permanent damage and not killing yourself. It's too difficult. And a medical doctor would have known that before anyone else.
Yep.
So, I mean, this thing is so full of rats that we think that there had to be something some like some kind of organized crime for them to get the medical lab way down in Arkansas to sign. They risked their licenses by signing that thing off as a suicide.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be so hard. That's the, you know, what we've been talking about is why that Freedom of Information Act, getting these things that Jonam is talking about. And Jonam, if you want to come up here and talk, I'll invite you as a guest. You don't have to accept, but, you know, if you want to come up here as, actually, I don't know if I can invite you as a guest. See, it's not letting me invite him, but it's not,
Okay.
it's not letting me invite him for some reason, but you can always request to be a guest if you want to. Let's see.
Now Bob hasn't spoken. I'm a big talker, so but he's here.
So Jonab is, I feel like Jonab, I don't know if you know him.
No.
Dixie, I don't know why they're warning. I just got a warning about your, you know, with TikTok, you have to be careful about what you say. Sometimes that's why I keep saying unalive instead of.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. I know you've never done a live. I should have warned you about that.
Not on TikTok. I've done it on YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, TikTok is the most you have to be careful on by far. They censor the most. Jonab, so you have been very vocal about this. So I don't know how much you want to share or what you can share. But what do you want to share? What can you tell us?
Okay, so my name is actually Jonna. My last name starts with a B, but so I am a local from Cassville. So I've been very, very connected to this case just because my best friend worked with him. I mean, my best friend is like my sister, and she actually worked his last shift with him. I personally have worked for the prosecuting attorney's office in Berry County. I've worked for the Benton County Circuit Clerk's office. So I'm into criminal matters anyways, like just interested in them. But personally, just from from everything that has happened throughout the case, and where his car was found, like at the Aquatic Center in Cassville, very weird place. It was like kind of like back by the dumpster, like where nobody would be. And then at first, you know, there was, they had stated that there was video, but you couldn't really see anybody. And then they stated that there was a white car, but
Right.
then there wasn't a white car. And then they couldn't identify that. But, and I do have to say the Aquatic Center isn't around a lot of businesses that would have cameras back there. But for him to get from Cassville even to Gateway, or I guess they're saying Garfield, where the Rogers Tire Shop is, that is a haul. And the road just from here to there is a very busy road. Somebody should have seen him. Somebody would have called something suspicious in, or something, like it wouldn't just be ordinary. Like most of the people that travel on this road are like people on bikes. Like it's very dangerous to travel on this road, especially from that tire shop where they're claiming that they've seen him all the way up down to the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And then the place that he was found, I just don't, I'll probably share the piece that I had shared with you with the family later.
Okay.
Just so they can check into that. But I just feel that the family should do an FOIA request in paper, because anybody can get all of this information, all the videos, all of the reports, but it has to be in writing and for specific items. But they would legally have 30 days to give it all back to you since the case is closed. Most places can use the excuse that the case isn't closed, so they can't give anything to you. but this case has officially been deemed closed.
Well, let me just say some. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
We checked into this, and Arkansas is different than some states in that you only can get the Freedom of Information Act only if you're an Arkansas state resident. They don't have to give it to you otherwise.
Well, I'll try to work on that for you.
That's kind of bizarre. I don't know why Arkansas would do that, but that's, yeah. And
Especially if you're family.
well, they don't consider us next of kin. They consider his oldest daughter and his ex-wife. His oldest daughter wasn't speaking to him for 2 years before this, so she wasn't a really good contact. So anyway, that's a real complicated thing. So, but they became hostile to police. Became hostile to us within the first month.
And I see that with the local police here, because Berry County and Benton County are right together, and I've seen a lot of shady stuff happen just within the prosecutor's office of me working there.
Did anybody bring up on here yet that there was a man, our son Richard? This was after the case was supposedly closed, and he was in the park with his wife walking their cat, and they ran into a guy. Just started talking, and he about the cat, and he brought up that he had just moved from Arkansas, that he'd been an Arkansas state policeman. He was a state police. And when he heard about what happened to Johnny, he said everybody in law enforcement was talking about that case, and he said everybody knew that he was abducted from the aquatic center and taken down to Beaver Lake and killed. And he said we all knew it. And he said there was so much corruption in law enforcement in Arkansas, that's why he quit.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. There's no two ways about it. Like, it sounds... I mean, I did a piece after I started doing John's stories on how many people, like how many crypto deaths there were, suspicious crypto deaths all over the world. And it was a 2-part series because there were so many. Andrea wants to know, is there any chance that he's actually not deceased since they never actually got to see his body?
I would like that, but he is not here. And it's very strange. Now, somebody mentioned another autopsy. I asked my brother, the pathologist, and he said he thought it would be really stressful, and the chance of you finding anything would not be very great because the gunshot wound is obviously the cause of death.
Right.
So what are you going to find? Something you already know is there. So.
Right. Yeah. So so even though you didn't see his body, like you didn't identify his body, you still feel like it is John whose body was in the lake. This is Dr. John Forsyth we're talking about, you guys.
Yeah, I don't like thinking about that, but in other words, as opposed to him hiding out somewhere, I don't believe.
Oh, witness protection, someone's saying.
Oh yeah, witness protection. I've heard that with witness protection, they don't disappear you without a soul who knows you knowing. You just leave them in agony the rest of their lives. He left a pregnant fiance. He wouldn't do that without. He told her also a few months before this happened he might have to disappear, and if he did, as soon as he could, he would find a way to get in touch with her. So she, I think, wonders if just because it helps her just keep from falling apart more, is if maybe he will do that. But he hasn't. I mean, he had a lot of crypto, but nobody can find any of it, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, but he was a developer. He had everything encrypted. He wasn't just out in the open. It wasn't like a bank account.
Sure.
Everything was really encrypted, and he was different. He was unusual for an MD because he was good at medicine, but he had this whole. He was a math and physics guy in his heart, and he talked about it all the time.
What do you say to people who say that he was obsessed with death and that he, was like overly obsessed with it? And
I'm glad you brought that up. He became really interested in near-death experiences because he was into quantum math and quantum physics, and he was trying to figure out a way with his crypto to identify, like, say, you are you and no one but you, and no one could steal your identity kind of thing. You can use DNA, but it's too expensive and it's too complicated. a way to identify you. And he knew, he said the answer, he's listened to a bunch of near-death experiences, and he said the answer is in quantum math and quantum physics. And if he could have an experience, he says, I don't want to stay there, but if I could just go visit there for a few minutes, I could see how to do it and bring the knowledge back. He wasn't obsessed with death. He was obsessed with quantum knowledge about quantum physics and math and entanglement. And he was definitely believed in God. He said he believes that quantum is the math that God uses because it's beyond this earth in the sense that not that it's magical or anything like that, but the math we use on this earth is more linear. And I'm not a math person, so it went way over my head, but he would get out these charts and draw all these things for us. And he said the answer is in quantum. And people who had near-death experiences often describe things. He says they've seen some of this.
Yeah, and one would think if he was obsessed and he said, he wanted to, it makes sense that if he was obsessed, you're right, he would want to bring that knowledge back to Earth to kind of study it.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to do that with a gunshot wound, right? You're going to do that with some other type of.
Well, he was looking into doing some. He says there was some ketamine. Sometimes when people took ketamine, they had. He said you can kind of force that experience in a safe way because you do it in a clinic where they totally observe you. And
yes,
that's what he did. I think he did it 2 times under supervision. He said nothing happened. And then when you took us to dinner this one time, I said, have you done it again? I never approved of it, by the way. Yeah. And he said, no, I don't have time. Mm-hmm. I don't have time. I'm way too busy.
Mm-hmm. So you think that it was obviously, do you think that you think that what happened is related to his kidnapping back in 2022?
Oh, yeah, because it's one of the notes on him said they rejected my offer. They rejected my offer. The police act like that's a getting rid of yourself. I don't want to say that word. Kind of a thing. And to us who know, there's no way. They rejected my offer. And I think that note was for his fiance who knew exactly what happened the year before. And I surmise that the reason that they duct taped him so he couldn't talk his way out of it again because he did the first time.
Right. And we didn't really get into the backpack. Do you want to talk a little bit about the backpack, his backpack that was found?
Yeah, we think, my brother, the pathologist, also thinks the backpack was a plant because why could they find if he could get rid of a gun, why couldn't he get rid of a backpack?
And what was in the backpack?
They claim there was a gun holster, which is another reason for a plant because he didn't have a gun.
Right.
And they didn't even show that he had acquired a gun in any way. And there was they act like there was drugs, but doctors often have syringes and lidocaine in there. In fact, his fiance said, I've got some in, she's a nursing DNP, doctor of nursing practitioner. She worked with him. She said, I have some in my backpack now. That's not uncommon. He was an MD. He had stuff in his backpack. And they claim there was ammunition and a gun holster. I think it was a plant. The backpack was found, and 2 days later, his body was found near it, but not then.
And it's just so ironic to me that they cannot find the gun, right? And they have.
How do you hide a gun? They told us the first night they came, if there's a gun in that lake, we will find it. They searched, and then after the case was closed, I think, this is just conjecture, that there was a news report that came out and no one believed what the police were saying. And after they closed it, they went back and looked again and found, with sophisticated equipment, and found nothing.
Yeah, I mean, but not only is it ironic to me that they couldn't find the gun, but they have zero proof of him ever, going into a store and buying a gun. I don't want to bring it back to, I'm sorry, Emma, what's her name? The woman from North Carolina who just, they say she unalived herself from, you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm really bad with names, but they have video of her actually walking into the store, buying a gun like an hour before she actually did unalive herself. They
Yeah.
have video of that. They don't have they have the receipt. They have Mia, thank you. Micah Miller, thank you guys. You guys know, again, brain fog with being a spoonie. Micah Miller, they have actual video of her walking into a gun store buying the gun. Like there's nothing with, like, they're just like, oh, he magically had a gun. Like, where did it come from?
The pathologist we've talked to said that, well, one, the head pathologist at the University of Columbia, I think, said there's no gun, no self-harm. He said, how did he get in the lake? How did he get in the lake? You can't show that. They didn't show anything, and they don't have to show motive, but there was no motive. Motive is not unimportant. He was happy, and he was a guy who solved problems, and everyone who knew him and loved him best said that he was not depressed. He wasn't a depressive person. He sometimes was kind of sad, but he always found a way. He always felt like there's an answer, and he would find. He's like his father.
And there was no goodbye note, and everybody who worked with him the night of, yeah, exactly, Gamecock. I haven't followed her as much as I tend to follow stories that don't get as much coverage. I know Mika's has had a lot, but there was no goodbye note, right? The people who were working with him that 12-hour shift before all said he was happy, like he was normal.
He's happy. He just got engaged, for Pete's sake.
He just got engaged. He was about to have a baby.
And they claim that, he spent all his money on expensive gifts. What they didn't bother to find out is he often gave expensive gifts. He was known to, when he worked in Aurora, he also worked in Aurora as well as Castville. Whenever he worked a shift there, he bought dinner for all of the staff every time.
Well, and it was Mother's Day coming up, like for you, the one for you.
He
it was
bought
like,
me a necklace for Mother's Day. We also believe that he knew he had limited time left. He thought that he told me once, I have a feeling I'm not going to live very long.
And they said that, and I believe that people have that intuition anyways, and that doesn't mean that they're going to unalive themselves.
He didn't sound depressed. He just acted kind of resigned.
Yeah.
He just, and then later I said, do you still feel that way? And he goes, no, I think he was just putting me off.
Yeah.
But he also is not the type of person that would not leave his affairs in order. They were a mess, and he was obviously not prepared for this.
So Andrea said, can I ask how his children are, both with the ex and his fiance? Because altogether he has 8 children, which is, that's so, and one of them he never even met, y'all.
Just a second. 9.
9. I'm sorry, that's right. One of them, y'all, he never even met. Like, she was pregnant.
His fiance, her little girl.
He
was 7 months pregnant when this happened.
I mean, that's like he's gonna like unalive himself when his fiance is 7 months pregnant.
He had named her. He would kiss her belly, and he was excited. They had a wedding date planned for December 1st. He spent a lot of money on her engagement ring. The expensive gifts, quote unquote, he got me a Mother's Day present. He got his sister, who was just graduating from a radiography school, and Johnny had encouraged her to do it. And he went to her pinning ceremony the night before. He gave her an Apple iWatch. He gave his brother, who was his partner, a computer for his birthday. So, I mean, all of these supposed expensive gifts not only have explanations, but he was a generous man.
Right. So
and they didn't ask us. They didn't ask us any of that.
So, Kiki, we'll get to your question, but how are the children doing, to answer Andrea's question?
Various ways. That the babies, of course, don't know anything. So they're okay. His children by his ex-wife are, it's really hard for them. Naturally, it's real hard for them in different ways. This is, they're all different ages. He has 3 of them are adults, and the rest are not adults yet. But the youngest one is just turned 13.
He has tickets to go see a couple of them too.
That's another thing. He had talked to his fiance and said, I need to explain to my children in Idaho he says, I've done things that I've taught them never to do, and I need to go and repair things with them and tell them that I'm engaged. So he had airline tickets to go see his children. Let's see, 3 days after this happened. And he was excited to go. He talked about it.
Yeah, that is another thing that doesn't make sense. Why would you buy plane tickets? He
would not have done it, and it wasn't in his nature. And you feel like screaming it from the mountaintop. It was not him. He did not do stuff like that. He was not a depressive person. He was an optimist. And again, he had no motive, none.
Yeah, it makes zero sense. It makes zero
and not only that, there's statistics that have shown that if you are thinking of doing self-harm, statistics show that over 90% of people, if they have more than an hour to think about it, they change their mind. He would have had to pre-plan this for days.
Yeah,
fool everybody who knew him, including why get engaged? They're also portrayed him as having a, quote, problem with alcohol. That's absurd.
And with women, like they made him seem like he was this big player. I was like, this is ridiculous. Honestly, even if he was, that doesn't mean that he's going to unalive himself. That is not. He was. I'll tell you, number one, you guys. Number one, he was so busy. He was not only a crypto developer. He was running. He was a hospitalist and ER doc in 2 different hospitals. He was constantly running. He didn't have time, even if he wanted to be a womanizer. And that's why he had that RV, y'all, that I was explaining to you, because he didn't have time.
The RV, there's a simple explanation for that. When he got divorced from his first wife after 20 years, and they tried, it just didn't work. He tried being single for a while. It didn't work. He couldn't find anybody, so he just said, he told his fiance later, I just thought, well, I might as well remarry my ex-wife, because then at least I'll be with my kids. So what he did was he bought that RV thinking when he was in Cassville, he could bring his whole family down there and they could be right outside the hospital. There's 2 big TVs in there. So when he was not on call, he could go in there and sleep and be with his kids. And then their second marriage didn't last very long. It didn't work. So he just kept it as a fancy call room. Mm-hmm. It was not a shaggin' wagon, as they try to say. It was, and he got a really good deal on it. So he just kept it.
Yeah.
And he lived with his fiance for over a year before he died. And she either worked with him because she was a partner, or when he was working, she wasn't. They constantly communicated with each other, or he was home with her.
Right. So Kiki wants to know, why did you not look in the casket before he was buried, like at the funeral home or whatever, to identify?
The funeral director suggested that we not, and I think it was because of the damage to his body, if you know what I mean, and I don't think they even embalmed him.
Oh,
because he'd been in the lake too long.
Oh, I see. Oh, so they'd suggest.
I'm trying to not say it because it'll make me cry. So I'm trying to not say the reality of it. And my brother, the pathologist, and another brother who was Johnny's partner, Paul. They said they could have, but they were discouraged from doing it because they said they might not, even though they've seen horrific things before, because they loved him so much, it might be traumatic for him to see.
Sure, that makes sense.
They didn't see. But it's just weird that there was a man there at the lake that had been an ER patient of Johnny's and knew him. They didn't ask him to identify him. They wouldn't let anyone but police see him.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, that is just a little bit strange to me.
It is very weird. I think that it took them, it's another thing, who takes over a year to determine suicide? My brother said that when you do suicides, it's pretty obvious pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, because, and again, they had ruled it a homicide at the beginning. Actually,
they ruled it undetermined.
Right, but then they came back, right, and said, we think it's a homicide.
They wouldn't ever actually say.
Okay, because I did a report where they said, I must have gotten it somewhere, because I did a report where I said police are now calling it a homicide. So
they were very evasive. And by the way, the one lead detective, the second time he came to our house as they were leaving, he went up to me and said, "I know your son better than you do."
Oh my God!
I said to Bob later, You didn't even ask me what I know. You don't know what I know.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it was so arrogant. To a mom who's just devastated, and still every day I wake up and don't know how I can go the rest of my life without seeing him.
No, I don't. I mean, that's honestly, it's a parent's worst nightmare. It is.
And they made it worse. They made it so much worse. And he told one of our daughters, "I don't even have to talk to any of y'all. I only have to talk to the oldest daughter, who was very antagonistic towards him."
That's horrible.
He wouldn't give her money. I'm just going to say it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
He didn't. He never said he wanted his kids to be spoiled, and he thought they should earn their way. And he said, if you can show me how you use it productively, then I will. But give me a business plan, and she couldn't. So he didn't give her any money, and she disowned him. So,
well, I mean, that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the only one of his children or any of us who is that way. The rest of us adore him,
sure,
rightfully, and all my other 6 children are absolutely devastated, and not the least of which is our other son, Richard.
Yeah, I was going to ask real quick though. Kay Brooks wants to know if you can say the detectives' names. Are you allowed to say who the detectives were?
Legally, I don't see why not. Ralph Bartley is the lead detective. He's the one that we're the most upset with because he was the lead guy and he was sarcastic.
It's horrible.
He was arrogant. Yeah.
I don't understand. It's like, put yourself in these people's shoes. They don't. That's the thing. But that was going to be my next question: is how is Richard doing? Because he really was the spokesperson. He took a lot of heat at the beginning as well because people were kind of throwing him under the bus, thinking, he had something to do with it.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. He's very good at compartmentalizing, and he did that for some months, even though he was clearly in shock. We could see it. But then people acted like he looked like he was guilty. I mean, any of us would have gladly taken a bullet for Johnny. Any of us would have, especially Richard. And and what didn't come out is that he had 3 surgeries within the past year. He'd had a gallbladder and some other surgeries. And he'd lost a lot of weight, and he was physically not totally recovered. And he did this anyway. And he's had some physical issues because of the emotional and physical things that he went through. But he's slowly kind of coming back. But it's really hard for him. It's really hard for him. This is his only brother.
I'm sure.
They were very close. They knew each other like a book. And even though Richard was not a medical doctor, he's an attorney with an MBA. So they were like, our kids used to say they were like Kirk and Spock. Richard is like Spock. He's the guy that not only reads the fine print in contracts, he writes them.
Yeah. Aw.
And so they're very, very, very close. But Rich has felt bad because Johnny never shared any of this with him. He really felt like, he really believed that they said, "We know where your family is and we will kill them."
So, Dixie, I try to keep my interviews to an hour with the families because I understand how difficult these are. And I'm so appreciative to them. And we've been about an hour. So I want to say, first of all, what can we do? What do you want? What can we do to help you besides obviously spread your story, which we definitely will? What else can we do to sort of help with this? Because obviously we all feel, a lot of us feel, most of us, I think, feel the same way as you, that there's something going on here.
I wish it could go national because that would put pressure on the police, number one, and the bad guys.
Yep.
Who did this. And, by the way, Johnny did tell his fiance that the people who abducted him had an Eastern European accent.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, the reason we're willing to talk about it is we need it spread because we don't know what else to do. If more people knew about this and there was public pressure on the police department, on law enforcement in Arkansas, I think it's really corrupt.
Yeah.
I wrote to the governor's office. I got nothing, just ghosted.
So I always tell anybody who's watching this that emails are always a good thing to send and question. like I said, we did this. There was so much pressure before with Sean Doherty's that we got those two detectives, involved. I believe that it works. And also with Kirby, as my followers did with Kirby Carpenter's case, his sister really thanks all my followers for the quick arrest in that. So, putting pressure on the police department, on the attorney general, on things like that, I think does make a huge difference. And sharing this story, I think also makes a huge difference. This will be on YouTube. And I always get a large amount of people who watch this afterwards on YouTube as well. And then can I ask, I know we talked a little bit about it, but what do you want to, like, what do you want to say? Like, what would you say to the police what do you want them to know? Like, what would you say to them, to the detectives and to everybody who's been involved in this?
If they would believe us, which they don't seem to at all, they say we lied to them, which is complete nonsense. But what I would say to them is if you knew Johnny, if in fact his sister said it at his funeral, anybody who actually knew him loved him. If you knew him, you would love. You wouldn't say these horrible things about him. You did not know him. Yeah. He people who really knew him loved him.
Yeah. And you can. That's very easy to see.
One last quick story. One person came forward, a patient who came in the ER, and we didn't know who it was. It was after he died, and she said she wanted us to know that one night she brought her baby in, who was really sick and crying, screaming, and I don't remember what the diagnosis was, but she needed a shot, and she said that she'll never forget that Johnny picked up her baby and walked the halls with that baby until it calmed down before he gave it a shot. It was right. He wanted to comfort her. He could have just held her down and done the thing, but he didn't do that.
He wanted to comfort her. Well, I mean, I think that says a lot. And, listen, we will be doing everything we can, if nothing else. I know a lot of people said that they'll be praying for you and your family and obviously all of his children. And again, sharing this story, sending emails and doing what we can from our end to help support you, because it's just not right. It's not right. And I really appreciate you coming on to tell the story, to tell Johnny's story and to get this out. And like I said, we will do what we can to help.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you, Dixie. And if anybody else wants to stay on, we'll talk. We can continue talking about Larkin and Spoony stuff. If you don't, you guys can jump off. But we were just in the middle before we started talking a little bit about how her murder trial started today. And for those of you who, Larkin Riley, for those of you guys who don't know, she's the 22-year-old UGA nurse who was brutally murdered by an illegal Venezuelan immigrant. All right, I'll let you guys out, dogs. I'm going to walk around for a minute. And he actually does not want, go outside. He does not want a jury. He actually is going to just have a judge decide his fate, which I thought was a little bit interesting. I don't know what he thinks. Like, do you think that you're going to get an easier, I mean, I'm curious, like, what do you think? You're going to get an easier, do you think the judge isn't going to find you guilty or what? But I don't know how many of you guys actually watched any of the court case today, because I will tell you, it was, come on, Oreo, get over here. Come here. It was extremely, we need justice for her. You're right, Andrea. And I will tell you, the fact that the death penalty is off the case for this, or is off the, sorry guys, I'm just letting my dog out. The fact that the death penalty is off the table for this one, that makes zero sense to me. He's got 10 charges that he's facing right now. And I don't understand. I don't know why the death penalty is off the case. I don't know why it is. Like, it doesn't. The freak, Oreo. Okay. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is he not facing the death penalty? It makes no sense to me. Because he is like scum of the earth. He's scum of the earth. And so I don't know who if anybody watched the trial at all today, the first day, but like we were talking about, like it was freaking heartbreaking. And she legitimately did like everything that she could have done to be safe and to like as a runner. So that was the one thing that I was saying before, was that like she was running, when she was running, she had her phone with her. And I want to say it felt like the way that they were explaining it, it's not like she had it in her, like, you know, when I used to run, I would have it in one of those armband things. I don't think she did. He wasn't charged with previous crimes, so thinks, oh, he's crazy if he thinks that. He was down here from New York because he had crimes against him. He escaped New York illegally, and that's why he was down in Georgia. He's crazy if he thinks that. I think he'll get maybe let off on a few of the charges out of the 10, but not the murder. No way. She like immediately, like I was saying earlier, was, because she was wearing her GPS and her like her it's not the Garmin, but you know, the shoplifting in Georgia too. Oh, I didn't know that. You could really tell like what her heart rate was, what everything was, and he better be found guilty. And they could tell exactly when it stopped. Yeah, I don't think it was her Apple though. I don't think it was an Apple, but maybe it was. Her Garmin. They said Garmin? I don't know. Anyways, they said you could tell exactly when, like, he must have jumped out of the woods at her because she was like running at like her pace, and then she just stopped cold, like stopped. So he must have just like been in the woods, seen her, and just jumped right out. And then she hit that SOS button on her phone super fast. And you can hear like, they played that 911 call today, and it was awful. Like makes me want to throw up even like thinking about it, because you can hear like, oh, he looks like he has absolutely no feelings at all. Like you can hear pounding in it. You can't hear screaming. You can't hear, like, you have to think that he probably put his hands or something over her mouth, because you can't hear any screaming. And it was daylight, and it was a pretty populated area because there's apartments all around it. And it was at 9 o'clock in the morning. But you can hear the operator going like, hello. But it's like, why didn't they just dispatch someone? His voice was on the call. Did you hear his voice on the call? What did you hear? I didn't hear his voice. I did not hear. Get over here. I did not hear his voice on the call at all. What did you hear his voice say? How did I miss that? I only heard like the pounding. I literally only heard, come here, Oreo. I only heard the pounding. Could you hear what he said on it? Muffled male voice. Oh, I did hear some muffled sounds. You're right. I definitely heard some, like, my door is like broken, so I have to like slam it to lock it now. You're right. I definitely heard some muffled like voices. It breaks my heart so much, my three sons. Like it literally, can I take this off? I was saying earlier, like that is a mother's worst fear. Like that is a mother's worst fear, to get that call. And like they had her roommates were the first witnesses, and how like they knew like right away that something was wrong, because she was like, she did this route. She, you know, it was like the same thing every day. Like when she ran, she did the same thing, and she was always back like at the same time. And the fact that they were checking her, like they shared their locations with each other. They said like she wasn't like moving. She was like in this one spot in the woods for like ever. And that's when they were like, okay, we got to go look for her. We got to go find her. And then when they went there, they realized that they found her, one of her ear pods. And then they found, that's it. And that's when they got back and they called the police. And the police were on it right away, like literally right away. But he was on like a freaking mission. Like he literally, I don't know if they had video of him, like surveillance video, where he was like out and like he was hunting women that morning, like hunting them. He tried to break into another student's house on the apartment on the first floor. He tried to break into it 6 times and he couldn't get into it. And she ended up calling the police too as well. But he was hunting. He was hunting that morning. He was on a hunt. Like he had all black on. He had a black like hoodie. He had the black like baseball hat on and everything. Like he was out for one reason and one reason only, and that was to murder. He was out hunting. He was out murdering. He was out looking for a girl to murder. That's what he was doing, and it's just really fucking sad. I don't know. Like as a mom, you're like, it's like the freaking saddest thing. It's just so sad. So I don't know if anybody else saw that, but I wanted to get that one out there as well, because it's just so sad. It's just such a sad case. But all right, anything else going on? I feel like it's been forever since I've been on. Let me turn this freaking fan off. Plus, I still feel like some of my videos aren't being seen. Like, I'm not getting as many views hardly at all, but, you know, still living, still surviving. Yeah, it started today, Andrea. It started today, and he just sits there, like, zero emotion, which makes me want to throw up. I can't believe you guys still don't see me on. That makes me so angry. Yeah, he just sits there, and, like, he can't speak English, so he just, like, wears those headphones, which makes me so angry. Any more updates from Caleb? No, I haven't heard one update on him at all. Nope. I did hear that Dog the Bounty Hunter is going to be on Court TV tonight. So if you guys want to go watch him, he's going to be talking about Sebastian's case. I also have pulled away from that case. Anyone ever found the crazy rude lady? No. I mean, I think we've identified her, but there's not enough proof where, like, I feel like confident enough going on there and saying who it is. Yeah, I also pulled away from Sebastian's case when people started going crazy about things with that as well. I just feel like, y'all know I don't like that drama. So I was like, pulled out of that one as well. It's like, we're here to find a little boy. We're not here for like fortune and fame and to see who can get on Court TV or whatnot. And so I was like, now there's like lawsuits and shit going on. It's like ridiculous. It's so stupid. I can't even deal with it. I'm like, this is it. Oh, I can't even deal with it's so much. And I'm like, you know, I go on TikTok and I'm like seeing people talk about drama and I'm like, I can't. Like, I don't know. I just wish that everybody would get along and get back to like crime. And that's why, like, I'm starting to like, I don't know if you guys have noticed anymore. Like, I'm starting to talk a little bit more about like being a spoonie and just being like a single mom, a single divorced mom, and just trying to like bring in a little bit more of where there seems to be a little bit less drama and things that people relate to just as much. Like, there's so many freaking spoonies out there, and you guys, we face so many challenges, and there's not a lot of voices of people who will speak up, and there needs to be. You know, I faced another, it's so true. I mean, that's all they do is talk about, it's all drama in their lives. And I'm like, I'd rather have 38 people in my life and have no drama than have 200 people in it and all you do is talk drama. Like, I can't. So yeah, so that's why I was like, I'll start, you know, I think I'm going to start talking a little bit about, like, again, being supportive of each other, of people who have chronic illnesses and chronic diseases, and people sharing their stories and seeing how we can help support each other as well, especially around the holidays, because I don't know if there's there's definitely spoonies here right now. I feel like this is when we need it the most. I don't know about you guys, but like I said before, like, that's a big part of the reason I haven't been live lately is because I'm just so freaking exhausted. But, oh, you're welcome, Deps, Mom. But I also think a lot of that is like, I knew you were Andrea. That's why I said that. I think that is, I think like the depression part of it also makes you exhausted too. Like, and I don't know about anybody else. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I don't know about anybody else, but like this time of year, you guys, gets me. I mean, I love Christmas. I love the holiday and everything, but this part of the time of the year gets me like super depressed too, in a lot of ways. It can be very, very overwhelming, especially if you're like a divorced single mom and you have an illness and you're not feeling the best and you've lost loved ones and you don't have a ton of money, like, so you want like to buy your kids everything and you can't afford to, like that's stressful. You know what I mean? And I think that that is part of the reason when you're depressed, you get tired. I mean, that's a big part of being depressed is being tired. And so sometimes, you're done with work and you're like, I don't even want to deal with like the world today. So, right, my three sons, like, I don't even want to deal with the world today. I want to like put on trash TV and go to sleep because like I feel like shit. I have no money. I like, it's the holiday season and you see all these commercials like, it's Black Friday, Target, this and that and this and that. And it's like, I like love Christmas. Do you have about $16,000 worth of girl? I'm the same. I mean, same. Andrea, I literally don't know where I'm getting money for Christmas for my kids this year, you guys. I don't. Like, I have no idea. I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know if I told you guys this. Like, I started fucking driving for Uber. I don't know if I told you guys this. Like, no, you're not, K-Bell. You're not. No, you're not. Believe me when I say that. Like, I legit started driving for Uber. And Lyft, like on the weekends when I don't have my kids, because I don't know what else to do. Like, because I can't like work another job where I'm on my feet all day. You know what I mean? Like, I can't like, I have to be like, because my legs are so bad. And I feel like with Uber and Lyft, like I'm just driving in my car. I don't do the Uber like foods or anything. So what did you have to do, Andrea? Did you have to get like fake, like the veneers? Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And I will tell you, it is real hard, like to work all day at my regular job. And then you're like, okay, now I have to go work Uber for 5 hours. And it's hard. You're exhausted. And that's the last thing you want to freaking do. But you're like, okay, over a weekend, I can maybe earn $300. But I'm like, you know what? Oh, Andrea, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. And that's painful too. Really? Because I was on gabapentin as well. You should look into that, Andrea. If you were on gabapentin. I was on it for a long time. But I don't know if you guys are looking, if you guys are looking into like thinking that you need, you should look into it. You should look into it, Andrea. You really should. If you guys are looking into possibly needing some extra money around like the holidays, you really should look into Uber and Lyft. It's very, very easy. It does take about 2 weeks to get your background check. But that's really all you need is like a car and insurance and like a decent driving record. That's it. They do a full background check, but like if you have some free time, like on like I won't have my kids next Saturday at all. So I'll literally start driving at like 11 o'clock in the morning and drive till like 7 o'clock at night. Like I'll work a full but hopefully I'll make like, a couple $100. I mean, I need it. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that so sad? Like how it's like, but what are you going to do? This is life. This is honestly life. Life is tough, but oh, that's sad. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's too bad. KK Bell. How'd you break your foot? Hey, Crime and Cask. How did you break your foot? Oh, thank you. Oh my God, you guys, this is my favorite art piece in the world. I got that at a vendor fair when I was in South Africa. And it was from a local artist, literally from a local artist. And you're from Africa, so you can relate to it. Yep. And guess how much I paid for this piece? It's painted by a local artist. Look how big it is. I bought it. No, it did not come framed. It did not come framed. It's on canvas. You're from South Africa? The one time I got out of my depression. Oh, I'm so sorry, KK Bell. So you guys, this is from a vendor fair in South Africa. I think it was Cape Town. I'm pretty sure it was Cape Town. And you guys, I paid $70 American for that butte. Do you know how much that would be in America or anywhere else? That is like, I thought for sure that I was going to lose it like in an airport or something because it was like rolled up or something. I don't know what Rand it with. No, he only took cash and he wanted like American cash. So I gave him Yep, the Rand is, yep. So I gave him $70 American and he said, you have fed my family for the next at least month off $70 American. Now I know that's like 104. I know our money's worth like double. But I was like, this is on canvas. You painted this. It's gorgeous. And I thought I was going to like lose it because it was rolled up for me. And, you know, that's a long flight home and you're on no sleep. And I had like a layover and I thought I was going to leave it in the overhead, but I know it's so cheap. Well, everything in South Africa is cheap because our money is worth so much. So I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you can't, once you get over there, like it's ridiculously cheap. I mean, we still spent a lot of money. There's no doubt. We were there for 3 weeks though. And we went on a safari. We did everything. Oh my God, it was such a great trip. I need to go back on a real trip, but all right, people. So I'm probably going to go. I got to make my daughter dinner and her friends. They're coming back over for dinner and then probably get in pajamas and do the same thing I do every night, which is watch trash TV and fall asleep. But maybe I'll jump on later again. Who knows? I would love to jump on a live with other people, but I always feel like there's going to be drama. So I just don't know anymore. You know what I mean? Like if you guys know of a TikTok live where there's no drama, let me know who it is. Cause I'd love to jump on live with other people. It's really fun that way, but I always feel like there's drama. So I don't want any part of that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. I'll try to do more lives. And Chopper says, "There's my baby." Chopper says goodbye as well. I know I love coming on and doing lives too. It's been way too long, but I'll see you guys soon. I promise I'll do some more, but thanks for joining. Have a good night, you guys. See you later. Bye.